Now we will review the work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure represents project work in a visual hierarchy of manageable sections. The construction subscription enables the project, which is here, the task, which are also labeled as cost codes, and the cost types dimensions. While use is optional, you can't disable any of these dimensions once subscribed to CRE. As a work breakdown structure best practice, use the dimensions together to build the project hierarchy, which I will show you in just a minute. The project is independent of tasks or cost types, but the tasks are unique to a specific project. And cost types depend on the existence of the project and task dimensions. The uniqueness of cost type is bound to a specific project and task, meaning you cannot select a cost type without first identifying the project and the task in that project. We can also use other ways or other things, attributes of the project or the task or the cost type dimension to better group and summarize costs for reporting information. So right now I'm on the view of the jobs list. So here you can see we can create a hierarchy of jobs, making phases, work package, extras. So we can create a hierarchical relationship between the job and a sub-project. There's no limit to the amount that we're able to add to the hierarchy. So for example, if I wanted to make my parent this project here, I would simply assign a parent job, and you can see that I have another tier in my job setup here. Another thing to mention is there's no limit or requirement for project IDs. I believe this is a 40-character field. It can be alphanumeric or numeric. We can create a document sequence if you don't want your users populating the project IDs. We can also use what are called smart rules to create restrictions. So for example, if we want to keep them 6 characters for top level projects, then we can do that. We can create those filters. We also have a lot of flexibility in custom fields on a project to better manage. So we can categorize, the top one as a job. If we wanted to call this one a work package or phase, we could do that. And then we could have, an extra or a sub-project labeled for the 3rd tier. And then we can create restrictions based off of that. So going into our project, we can see that we have quite a bit of different fields, which I've been calling attributes throughout this video. We can create custom fields. So this is a custom checkbox field here. I'm not going to be going through all of the features of the job fields that we have available, but these are also custom fields here for dates that we can use for reporting purposes. We can also assign resources and pricing for any type of T&M billing we need. So we can require or populate labor rates or markup fees. This can also be a way to limit what employees can put time to these jobs and tasks or cost codes through the timesheet entry. We also have a job summary tab, which gives a quick snapshot of how the job is performing. So you can see in this financial summary section, we have different GL buckets, basically summarizing, the material costs, the labor costs, the subcontract costs, any equipment overhead costs, and then any billings to date. So you can get a quick snapshot of how your job is performing, the billings that we have, and then the profit margin. It's like we're at a loss for this job. Budget. So if we wanted to populate a budget billing amount, this would be outside of the project estimate, which we'll also be reviewing. But if you just wanted a quick snapshot to compare budget, we could enter those amounts here. Otherwise, it's pulling in the actual billings, and then you have your variance, and then all the other buckets as well that you can see here. And if we wanted to post the budget to a specific budget ID for reporting purposes or to include on your dashboard as those key performance indicators, then we can determine the GL budget ID here. We also have a section for hours. So this is being tracked by statistical accounts, which we've configured in the project configuration. Again, this is going to pull from the timesheets that are coming in and then the dimensions that we've populated. The employee accounts payable and purchase order expenses. This gives a snapshot of total non-billable expenses, billable expenses, total unbilled expenses, total billed expenses, and then our total PO commitments. I also have down below here the collaborate feature turned on, and this is included in your Intacct subscription. This is a good way to just communicate throughout transactions in the system. You can also follow transactions. which give you the ability to create notifications if there's changes on a transaction or a project. So if there's a project manager, I would recommend they follow. That way they would get notified if there's any changes. We can also tag employees. So if there's a user in the system and I wanted to make sure he was aware that this was a new project, I could tag, and then you'll get notified from your preferences that there was a collaborate chat. Please check device setup. And you'll actually see the collaborate, this function here across all transactions in the system. So you can see everyone has visibility on those. You can create files, links, etc. That's a good feature. And then under invoice options, we can populate if we wanted to prevent billing for not to exceed contracts. We would put that in here. We'd prevent billing. We can also populate invoice messages to transpire onto a printed doc template. We also have our cost codes and then our project estimates. So you can either add them on the fly within this user interface. We can also import those, but I will be covering that in just a minute. So we'll go ahead and save. So going into our cost codes, if we click on the cost codes here, this will list out all of the cost codes that we just saw when reviewing the project. But what's nice about this view is we can slice and dice. We can export to Excel, CSV, Word, PDF. Any of the views that we'll see here, we can actually export, and we can create new views, which include other header information. So if we wanted to include other details that aren't included on the screen that you see here, we can select those and then export, and they're kind of like mini little mini reports within the system. What's nice about Intacct's cost code is that we have the ability to pull from a catalog. So if this was a new project that didn't have any cost codes assigned, we could select the cost codes from a catalog. And if we wanted to, right now there's a hierarchy, as you can see, to the cost codes that are in the catalog. If we wanted to slice and dice by priority or by production unit description for different deliverables or tasks that we want to assign to a project, we can easily filter through the catalog. But what's really nice about the catalog is if we come in here, you'll see that the cost types are associated and already set up with each of the cost codes. So instead of having to go in and set up the cost codes and then go assign the cost types, you're actually doing it all at once with the catalog. So you would select the ones that you want to include, and then you would hit save, and then they would automatically create the cost codes and the cost type hierarchy for those projects. So it's super easy and seamless way to add your work breakdown structure. You can also duplicate. So if I wanted to come in here and duplicate a project, it would carry over all of the cost codes and cost types that were assigned to that project. So I have a lot of clients that create type of project templates that can duplicate, and then they don't have to worry about their users going and adding those cost codes. We can also import the project estimate and create the project, cost code, and cost types all within one import. So I'll be covering that through the project estimate video. But going into a little bit deeper, going into the cost types that we have assigned, each dimension has a series of its own attributes. So you can see here, there's an accumulation type name. These give us the ability to group for reporting purposes, as I mentioned before. We can also track cost types, observe % complete. We can track it at the task or cost code level. So I go back to the cost codes. We can track it, observe % complete at that level as well, under additional information. We can track resourcing, like I mentioned on the project, at the task level as well. We can track production units rather than amounts. We can also allocate resources on a cost code level, like I mentioned. So there's just tons of flexibility. We can create custom fields in any one of these dimensions. We can create specific user tabs here. So there's really no limit to what we can accomplish with the work breakdown structure based off of your client needs.